What's up, guys? Robbie Reyes here. It's going to be my first glance impressions of human engineers' power skills, skill trees. Um, okay, getting into cryo beam. Inherently damage per second, 135. Defense debuff versus armor, 50%. That's good. I mean, that's really good. You see a big armored boss, you put this down at rank 1, you're doing 50% debuff to it. Damn good. Recharge time, 15 seconds. Not bad. I wonder what its range is. It doesn't say here. Hold button directs continuous stream of super cool particles that freeze target problem from combat detonations, freezing disables on armored enemies, and weakens the enemy armor, but has no effect on shielded foes. Okay. So it's priming them. That obviously cryo explosions were ridiculous in Mass Effect 3. Once they made cryo explosions what they were, with the buff, it was literally like almost insane how many cryo explosions you get with Snap Freeze and how good they were. So a little more recharge, a little more damage, recharge. I'd probably go for recharge just because power is about debuffing and setting up, not so much about doing damage to them. Just looking at this, damage per second 135. It doesn't tell me how long it lasts, so I mean, I don't, I can't give you a. Again, with the vague wording in this game, it's killing me. They make it so you really have to play them and do some research. You can't really get a clear picture by reading these vague descriptions because telling me damage per second 135. Okay, that's nice. Now tell me how long it lasts. Obviously, that's the next question, so you can calculate how much damage it's going to do. Pretty ridiculous, guys. But what can you do? Damage again. So yeah, I'd probably go for recharge. Radius versus 50% armor defense debuff. Okay, so here basically you're choosing, do you want to set up possibly have a chance of setting up more than one person for a cryo explosion and one person debuff? Or do you want to completely nullify armor basically because you got 50% here and you got 50% here? In my opinion, I'd probably get this. This is too good to pass up on. Frozen shadow damage from a shadow form. When aimed away from a direct harm beam, creates a temporary freeze and then chills enemies who enter. So like a stasis bubble from Mass Effect 3, basically. Versus getting when aimed away from a target, the beam creates a temporary freeze until it chills enemies who enter. Frozen shatter damage. This is an indirect way to get the radius that you skip here, basically. Frozen shatter damage, frozen damage for shattering frozen target causes damage to nearby foes, and snap freezes nearby defenseless enemies. So yeah, when you get the kill off someone that's been snap freeze, it's going to damage some of the people around them. That's kind of nice. I think Bubble might end up being better, especially because this is just, my mouth is watering just reading this. So I don't think I'll go for the radius on it, but being able to still get the radius effect by picking Bubble instead of the explosion of the target, up in there at this point. But Bubble's looking like it has some utility since I really don't want to get the radius here. I'd much rather have 50% there. That's really good. Assault turret, thank God. If you watch my Mass Effect 3 videos, you know that I'm not a big fan of all the combat drones and decoys and turrets in Mass Effect 3 multiplayer. They were highly underpowered in my opinion. Didn't have enough bang for your buck and took away points that were valuable, to go into your own health and shields and your own power and weapon damage and recharge and such. But in this game, they have really, it looks like a lot of people had the feeling I had because they've really evolved these turrets. Now, it deploys this turret and it can set up and detonate, but we'll get into that later. So, inherently, base health is 400, damage per shot 20, that's piss poor. Singularity recharge time 24, I don't know what that is going to be like yet. Singularity recharge time 24, so it's shooting out of singularity, that's pretty goddamn awesome. Area damage when destroyed 340, that's alright. I mean, that's basically a concussive shot. 30% turret health, that might help. 50% gun damage. Turret health, recharge speed. What's the recharge speed on it? It is a Is it not going to tell me the recharge speed? 100%. Oh, it's giving you a recharge speed buff. That's awesome, guys. That's really good for an engineer. See, this is the kind of intuitive stuff that we needed in Mass Effect 3 with the turret. I think I had this idea. I was like, why doesn't the turret like buff your other powers in some way? Then it's like there's a reason to get it. Like if you throw it on a turret, it increases your other powers recharge speed. Brilliant. That's what this game needed. Turret gun damage, Omnilink recharge speed, Omnilink turret heals per second, 2%, not much. Nice, and you don't seem to have any other kind of healing power, so that would be nice. It's basically making this a Geth turret. Turret gun damage, since the gun is already just poor, I don't know what its fire rate is, but 20 is crap. If it's firing fast, it might be good. This is kind of looking useful. Omnilink tech recharge speed, 30%. I like that kind of guys, but let's see. Flamethrower damage per second, 45. Okay, that's kind of piss poor too, but it depends on the duration, right? Damage bonus for armor, flamethrower range, 8 meters, burn damage per second, 22%, or armor defense debuff. Turret shots chill enemies, slowing and weakening. That's really good, guys. And it primes them. This also primes them, but that's really good. 100% debuff. If you remember from the last video, it was the last video or was this? Yeah, the cryo beam. Yeah, cryo beam is also doing 100% debuff. I guess that is a good reason to not pick the armor debuff on this, just because you're already doing that with your cryo beam. So maybe flame will be better because you can set them up for fire explosions, and cryo beam is not a detonator. Overload will be a detonator. So okay, so everything's going to depend. These two powers are going to be setting up for you. This is going to set up cryo explosions. This is going to set up either fire or cryo explosions, and the overload's going to be detonating them. Since you're already debuffing with a cryo beam, I might go for flame on this so you can get the fire explosions. And, you know, this is going to be useful against the minions. This is kind of a buddy turret, really, in a sense, because it's going to help you recharge. This is the way I think I'm going to set it up. I'm going to set it up for the recharge. I'm not going to worry about the gun doing damage for me and its little turret doing damage. I'm going to make it so it can be recharged for me, so it can give a little more recharge for me and heal me a little bit, and it's going to flame all the enemies and set them up for fire explosions, which will be great because remember, cryo beam is already debuffing them, so you know this looks pretty goddamn good to set them up for that fire explosion. And imagine if you've cryo beamed and then put this flamer on them. That's really good, guys. So yeah, I'm probably looking at the whole bottom tree. That'll be the first thing I'll try out. Overload, okay. Again, now, beautiful what they've done with this power. In Mass Effect 3, while it was an instant cast, didn't even have time to travel, and it always has been like that in Mass Effect. From Mass Effect 2 and Mass Effect 3, I can confirm. I'm not too sure about Mass Effect 1 now, but I'm pretty sure. You know, you just press the button and it just happens. You don't have to wait for the power to travel with them. But in this case, it's good that it travels, because what does that mean? You can make it go around cover. You can make it, you know, basically go around cover, go around whatever you want it to do. You can control the movement, and because basically Mass Effect 3, if a target was behind cover and you couldn't see him, you couldn't overload him. Now you can, because you can just make it shoot over the cover, just like you can with Incinerate and Warp and that kind of thing, because they travel. Unleashes an electrical discharge upon a target. High damage shield detonates per combo. So this is your detonator. Again, remember that. Initial damage uncharged. 150 initial damage charged. 200%. Not 200%. 200. Chain damage. 100. Okay, that's okay. Shield damage bonus 200%. Synthetic damage. So this is obviously going to fuck up the Remnant a lot. And the Ket to an extent, because a lot of them have shields. Against the mercenary group, it won't be as good. It'll be good because it'll be detonating for you, but a lot of them don't have shields. So keep that in mind. So holding down the button, that's obvious. I don't see why you would not hold down the button. It's just going to give you a better overload. Recharge speed versus damage. What is the recharge speed inherently? 15 seconds. Pretty damn long. Since it's your detonator, I'd probably recommend going for recharge. Just detonate the other powers. Again, this is just my first impression, so I could be wrong about all these predictions. But this is my predictions based on Mass Effect 3 and what I know about this game. So, Yeah, I'd probably go for recharge just to get as many combos off as fast as possible. Damage versus shields, chains to one additional target when charged. That'll be good to detonate multiple enemies. If your turret has set up multiple enemies, or if that cryo bubble has debuff multiple enemies. I mean, crowd multiple enemies, that is good. Or your ammo in general. Remember, you could be using ammo to set them up too. So you'll be able to detonate more with this. But that damage versus shields is also looking pretty appealing just to take their shield out of the game. I would honestly, now that I've read all the way through, I would pick this evolution and pick this evolution here. Because 30% chain damage, that's nice, but the way I would play with it is I would hit the target that needs the shield gone the most. And if it's detonating other people, like one other target, I don't know. Is it worth it to get one other guy to, how many people can he get inherently? Causing the change to 2 additional targets. So you can get 2 targets as is. This would make it so you could get 3 targets to the overload. I don't know, guys. I mean, would you rather 3 combo detonations is great. I think I'd probably get this. And then I'd get this here. So I'd get the shield damage here and the damage for synthetics here. Because this is 30% chain damage against 2 people. Would you rather do more damage against 2 people, or would you rather be hitting 3 people and still do more? Yeah. So again, I'm probably going to recommend recharge. This one here and this one here. That could change. The thing that really could change is I might choose to just get straight shield damage and straight shield damage here. Just to completely annihilate 2 people. But remember, this is not spammable like it was in Mass Effect 3. You're not going to be overloading every 2.5 seconds. It's 15 seconds at base. It does get better, but so you kind of need to, you get what I'm saying? So it's an overload in Mass Effect 3 was 2.5 seconds, and everyone went for chain for the most part because they wanted to overload as many people as possible. And you could make the argument that since you get to overload more often, you don't need the chain. You'd rather just have it hit harder and then just cast another one if you want to hit some other idiots. But in this game, you're off it for 15 seconds, or let's say 10 by the time you get all the buffs. So in that, you better make sure you hit everyone you want to hit if you got to wait a whole another 10 seconds to get another one. So I think I would probably pick this and this. But I got to see just how much damage it's doing to shields. But remember, this is your detonator, guys. At the end of the day, your combos are the best damage source for you. So I'd probably end up picking the... I think I'd probably get recharge, 1 additional target, and shield damage. I think that's probably all I'm doing. Offensive tech, passive, basic passive, all combo damage, all combo radiuses. That's kind of nice. I'd probably go for this because boosting those combos is huge. Power damage to armor, power damage on shields. I'd probably go for armor. Probably. Yeah, probably. Weapon weight, just because, I mean, armor is the biggest bars in the game. So they're the ones you really want to deal with, and you do overload's going to kind of deal. You don't have the incinerate. You have the assault turret. So, and you're counting on that flamethrowing assault turret to do all your armor damage. Kind of need that here then. Overload's obviously a great shield killer, but we're relying on that AI to do some damage against armor. Again, we are debuffing armor, but, you know, I would say definitely armor, guys, because this utility of this guy is really, from reading all these, is going to be to help against, you know, doing tons of combos and debuffing, stripping enemies their defenses, and doing the debuffs to the boss. Yeah, I'd probably like armor. Weapon weight capacity, weapon accuracy, weapon stability, elemental debuff. Inflicting a status effect on enemies causes them to take more damage from heat, cold, and electricity. That looks really good. Oh, what's status? A status effect on enemies. I don't know what the fuck that means, but I know elemental defense debuff. This will be good. A little more accuracy, a little more stability, a little more weight capacity. That might be good if you have a gun that you're convinced is going to improve your gameplay and it weighs too much. But in my opinion, I'd probably pick that. Okay. Plus 30% to all power effect durations, plus 25% power area effect radius, tech construct area effect radius. Don't really care about the duration of cryo beam or overload. What's the turret's recharge time? Um, doesn't tell you. That's nice. It says singularity recharge time. I don't know what the fuck that means. Doesn't tell you the recharge time. So I mean not the recharge time, the duration. What is this? Um, yeah, what's the duration of this goddamn thing? It doesn't tell you. I guess it's just till it dies. So what duration would this help? I don't know what they're talking about here. Oh, is it talking about how long the debuffs would last? Okay, that makes sense. Versus power area of effect radius. Up in the air. Obviously, these are kind of vaguely worded, but I think I'd probably go for radius. Damage resistant during revive. Damage resistant after revive. Max health, max shields. I'd probably pick this. Call me selfish if you will, but the engineer is not exactly like the best getter upper class. That's more like the infiltrator and vanguard job. You want to make sure you're alive. So your job is basically to debuff and strip defenses, not to be running around getting people up. Obviously, you should get people up, but that's always going to be done better by the vanguard and infiltrator. Your job is to debuff the enemies, strip their shields, do tons of combos, and throw down that turret to help the guy that's trying to get somebody up and help the teammates from not going down with that turret, with the healing powers of that turret. So I would just make and if you go down, everyone else is more likely to go down because you're such a crucial role with everything I just described. I'd probably pick this. Once every 10 seconds, using a tech power causes shields to recharge immediately rather than their standard delay. That's fucking good, guys. Hitting enemies with powers cause them to temporarily deal less damage. That's good for the whole team, and this is good for you. This looks really good, guys. So basically, you have an energy drain from any power you want. I'd probably pick that. I mean, because if you're doing your job, no one's going to be going down as much. 30% isn't that big a number, too, and it's only for 8 seconds. This looks very appealing, guys. This will make this guy a lot of fun to play. I'd pick that, to be honest. Alright, guys, so that's my initial reaction to this kind of skill tree. Obviously, my opinions will develop as I play with him and everything, but at level 20, build and gameplay incoming for this guy is going to take a little more time. In the meantime, discuss below. I want to hear what you guys think. This is my impressions, first impressions looking at it, but I'm very curious to hear what your guys' opinions are. Did I miss something? Do you guys know something I don't know? Let's figure out this build together. Alright, guys, you have a great day. Oh, and be sure to rate, like, comment, subscribe if you did enjoy this and want to see more Mass Effect Andromeda content. Tons coming your way.